Welcome to another episode of the Cannabis Review. I am delighted to be joined by Anna Symonds, who is the Chief Communications Officer for Fork Cultivars. How you doing, Anna? You well?
Doing well, thanks.
Everybody, Anna's joining me at 7 o'clock in the morning Hawaii time, so we got to give her very big props for coming on. Thank you for taking the time out for talk to us. Do you want to basically give everybody a little overview of how you got into the industry and where you're at now with Fork Cultivars?
Sure. Yeah, so I got into cannabis by accident. I had enjoyed it for years, but working in the industry is new to most of us. Really, just a few years old in the legal states in the U.S. and for Canadians, their whole country. But I just chanced into helping out some growers locally who needed licensing when we got our laws passed and they changed. We had a medical cannabis system, and then they were moving everyone into the adult use system. And so I just kind of got in by accident. And then I found that, this is something I believe in. It's really meaningful work. And just kind of went from there. Everything, sped up and got more involved and became more public with my involvement. So here we are.
Brilliant. Excellent. Well, I'll kick things off with the first topic, which is we both know that education is the tip of the spear in the industry, and those people who are working in the education sphere, these are the ones actually moving the industry forward. So can you give everybody a little bit of background for you and you're CBD certified, the free educational CBD program for dispensary staff that you guys do?
Definitely. So with cannabis, there's a lot of myths that are passed around, whether on the internet or word of mouth, and a lot of personal opinions that get mixed in there. And so we really wanted to offer, as part of our mission, a science-based education program that would give people a little bit firmer footing to kind of base their decisions about their health choices. And so we focused on CBD specifically because that is what East Fork is known for. We've always bred for CBD rich varieties, whether that was in our adult use cannabis side or, then later we have a craft hemp side of the farm as well. But, it's no good to have access to all these products if you don't know how to use them properly and you don't understand why they work, how they work, to the best extent that we do understand those things scientifically, right? Because there's a lot still to be learned in cannabis science. But basically, we really just wanted to create this resource and make it free so that people could understand what CBD is, how it works with the rest of the cannabis plant, and how those things are interacting with our bodies.
Yeah, no, I think you'd agree. There seemed to be the first wave of cannabis was all the people with loads of cash who were invested in things who didn't really care about learning too much about it. And you were kind of getting told four stories of one actual product from four different people. So that's one of the reasons I started this, is so I could get the answers myself from the leading experts around the world. And it's actually been highly informative and being able to cut through the bullshit and get straight to the actual real honest answers of things.
It's so important because these are, people are using this plant for medicine. And whether that's for more serious conditions like epilepsy or things like MS and cancer, or even just the more common everyday ailments that everyone deals with, anxiety, inflammation, pain, insomnia, those kinds of things.
Yeah, no, and thank there's a lot more research coming out on those what seem to be small little ailments, but that are affecting such a huge population that we don't need to be thinking along the lines of the miracle drug. It does enough good things for a small couple of causes, and maybe focus on that and get more R&D done in those areas. I'm going to move on to the second topic, which is I couldn't help notice it when I was looking through these Fork Cultivars that every single person there seems to be a very happy individual and enjoying their life. Can you give us little people a little bit of background that would you agree that happy people grow happy plants? And is there something to my madness there?
I agree, absolutely. I think there's a lot of energy that passes between people and plants. Anyone who's ever had house plants and cared for them, that they respond to their environments, and that's not just sunlight and water or fertilizer, but it's also music or some of the other energy. And I think that's one of the things that we as humans have maybe lost some of the knowledge we used to have about communicating with plants, if I can say it that way. There's definitely living things. We have energy in us that passes between us in all these different ways. And so I think that, emotions can definitely be part of what you're feeding and nourishing the plants with. And on our farm, we do a lot of the really regenerative methods for caring for the plants. Like we make compost teas on site that we use, and we do Korean natural farming where we ferment the positive, beneficial bacteria and have those in the soil, helping to keep the plants happy. But I think that caring for the plants and appreciating them and loving them does make a difference too.
Yeah, no, well, I originally have a career in music as an arranger for orchestras decades ago, so I understand the vibrations of everything, and it's one of the things that I think you could actually do a little bit of research and play a different couple of styles of music and maybe sell a couple of playlists to the cultivars around the world.
You should do that.
Yeah, because they're all vibrations, and you can already do with a baby being born in the womb, that they listen to a song when they're born, and then when they listen to it when they're born, they stop crying because the vibrations put them back in the womb mentality, so they go quiet.
That's so cool. You should create that playlist. I would listen to it.
Yeah, I might just have to do that. Let me move on to the next topic, which is, I'm sure, a big one for everybody kind of understands. The stigma behind THC. Does this date back to Harry J. Ainslinger back in the 30s with his campaign? Is it the 60s campaign, or is it Reagan in the 80s? Where's the big smoke and hullabaloo behind this?
It's all of those things, but really, yeah, Anslinger back in the 30s was the big push, to really demonize, criminalize, and then create propaganda against the cannabis plant. Before that, you could buy tinctures in pharmacies in the U.S., with cannabis tinctures, and it was commonly used. But that's when, of course, they created or publicized using the word marijuana. They wanted to link, the plant to Mexican people in the southwest of the U.S., who, of course, they were painting as unsavory characters and all this. Just right, and Black people, right? Just racist. But even more than that, the U.S. is responsible for pushing that stigma and propaganda on the rest of the world through our drug treaties. And that's the kind of thing that we're starting to see slowly getting undone. I love to see Canada and Uruguay, federally legalized cannabis. It's, we're going to see more and more of that. And it's just such a shame that the US has pushed that, because it's unscientific. And THC is medically beneficial for numerous different conditions. And we're going to only be discovering more of them as we are able to do more research, as these legal barriers start to fall away.
Okay, you actually, as an education expert, might be able to help me. Ainslinger, was he pushing the marijuana thing because they owned cotton farms and that hemp was going to be replacing one of the fibers that they were using? Or is, again, that just another addition to an article that's Chinese whispers over time?
Well, there are a lot of those different factors. I think, it's hard to say. I don't have particular knowledge about the fiber side of things, although people do like to talk about those industrial motivations. But we do know with Anslinger, he had, he saw it was politically useful to demonize certain groups, but also he had personal animosity towards, racial animosity towards other groups. So just some of the quotes that are set down historically make that really clear. So it's just, a confluence of really sad factors between, personal racism and then political influence and potentially, industrial gains or benefits.
Yeah, an all-round asshole. I can think we could just tag him as. Tell me this. Let's get on to something happy. How about some of the brands that you're noticing? Understand that it's still state by state over there, and you haven't had the kind of cross competition and the mergers and acquisitions that will happen over time. But is there any like cookies we've heard about over here in Europe? Are there any big brands that you can see that are making good gains in any of the infused beverages, edibles, or the homegrown flower? Not the homegrown flower, the cultivated flower.
Right. Well, as you pointed out, our markets are all segregated state by state, and it's illegal. Even if two states are legal and they border each other, you still can't import export from one to another. So that creates a situation where brands are either landlocked with their own state, or they have to set up identical separate companies to keep the same brand in different states. So we do see some, they call them MSOs, multi-state operators, and bigger corporations that are building their brands. Personally, I've been more impressed by some of the smaller craft companies that have grown and built themselves into having a national audience or recognition. But we do see some like CannaCraft in California. And, I guess there's not too many I really want to shout out because honestly, I'm not that impressed with a lot of the bigger ones. I really think the smaller companies where they are people who've been doing this for a long time before it was legal, and they have the deep knowledge of the plant and the products. Aunt Zelda's is a good one in California. And we have seen, in Oregon, we've seen some brands like Gruen, which is, has become national on the CBD side. But there's going to be a lot of shakeups as our laws continue changing and evolving.
Yeah, no, I think it is. It's an ever evolving landscape at the moment, and it's trying to keep your finger on the pulse. Is like trying to hold a hot egg at the moment. What are your hopes and dreams for East Cultivar for the next 12 months? Where are you guys going?
Well, we're doing a lot of fun things right now. Agriculture is always, inherently risky because you never know what's coming around the corner for the growing season. But we are, in addition to being a production farm, we're a goods maker, and we make our own tinctures. We are a genetics house, and we're producing feminized seed as well as tissue culture clones on the hemp side for growers to grow at scale. And those are our own original lines of genetics that we've bred. And then we are opening a retail store, which is a little crazy during COVID, but it's and it's called Hemp Bar, and it's pretty cool. Retail place where you can come learn about, of course, our hemp-based CBD products, and have CBD mocktails and try things out. Really lovely community space. So just kind of want to see all of those pieces continue to grow and thrive, and reach as many people as we can with quality plant medicine. That's our mission.
Brilliant. Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show and helping educate the audience on the topics that we talked about. I presume Anna Symonds is your handle across social media. Anybody wants to get in touch with you?
I'm actually Exit Drug on Instagram. That's a good way to, the exit from bad drugs is cannabis and CBD. So Brilliant. You can find me there.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, again, thank you very much for coming on the show, and I hope we'll catch up again towards the end of the year and see how things have all progressed.
Love to. Thanks, Owen.
Cheers. Have a great day, Anna. Bye-bye.
You too.